With the somewhat recent departure of the beloved Smash Summit series, the greater Smash community was in desperate need of a new invitational event. We needed a blistering battleground to unite together the strongest Ultimate players on the planet for a chance at the title of World Champion. Announced back in July of this year, the collaboration of Lights Out, Tweek Talks, and Smash University along with the Guildhouse brought us the first iteration of Smash Ultimate's newest invitational series, Watch the Throne. In total, 16 of Smash Ultimate's most talented competitors from all around the globe were going to have a chance to claim this throne. The 8 initial invited players were the United States top 2 ranked in Tweek and Light, Mexico's top 2 ranked in Spargo and MKLeo, Japan's Acola and Proto Bantam, and the pair of European competitors in Gluttony from France and Bloom Forever from England. Watch the Throne had 2 alternative methods of making it in: qualifying and the infamous voting phase. The voting phase was insane. Kurama's support was absolutely unbelievable and shattered every other player in the nomination phase, having more votes individually than nearly every other player had combined. And, well, rather unfortunately for those who made it into the voting phase, there was an unforeseen circumstance in place. The tournament took place in Northern California, and since you receive votes for buying a spectator pass, which is much more accessible for people living in the area, well, I'm sure you can see where this is going. Not only Kurama, but NorCal's number 2 player, Louis Money, were direct beneficiaries of this, overtaking players like Neo, Tarek, Skyjay, and the surprised Terakatori, who had a random account called Little Mac donate multiple thousands of dollars in an attempt to get him in. In the final phase of voting, we saw an intense 3-way race between Germany's number 1 Tarek, the aforementioned Little Mac player Terakatori, who is backed by essentially one person, and WebbJP, a top sheik that's recently been making a name for themselves among Ultimate's top level. And to everyone's surprise, including his own, WebbJP ended up getting a last-minute push that granted him the final spot and another slot for the East Coast to claim the throne.
Oh, no way! No, wait. I'm actually in the front. Wait. Hold on, wait. There's no shot. There's actually no shot. What?
As for the remaining invitees, the final 5 slots were given to the top finishers at 5 designated events: Super Smash Con, which notably was the only event to have 2 spots, Luminosity Makes Moves Miami 2023, Port Priority 8, and the final chance to make it in at Genesis Black. SmashCon had by far the fiercest competition, being one of the biggest Smash events of all time, and the victors did not disappoint. Miya took the first slot, coming in at 3rd place, falling to his fellow Watch the Throne invitee DeBuzz, who made a Cinderella run all the way to 2nd and secured his slot at the Invitational as well. Although he came up short to Spargo, one of the contenders for Best in the World in Sonix was able to claim his spot with a 2nd place finish at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, and if he hadn't gotten it there, he would have gotten it at Port Priority 8. Speaking of that event, another top Sonic player, Ken, was able to actualize his victory by making an incredible run to 4th place with wins over Spargo and some of Japan's strongest players. The final qualifying event was Genesis Black, featuring players like Mudace, Umeki, Yuno, and more. It ended up being 2 of America's best though, in Zamba and Apollo Kage, to duke it out in grand finals. It was a hard-fought battle, but in the end, Apollo Kage reset the bracket and took home the event as well as the final seat at Watch the Throne. So there's our 16, and with all players now locked in and nearly a year of data behind us, it was clear coming into this event that a select group of players were expected to perform better than the rest, the leaders of a new era of Smash Ultimate. While in previous years we had a consistent group of players taking up the top ranks of the game, there was still a large amount of parity within the scene. In 2022, we had a total of 17, that's out of 38 majors, with different players who were able to claim the title of major champion throughout the year. In 2023, however, the story has been much different. In total, we've had 11 different major winners across 38 major events, but that doesn't really tell the whole story. Among those events, there's been an anomaly in that data, an undeniable fact that we have to take a look at. A big 4 of Acola, Miya, Spargo, and Sonix, some would call them the Four Horsemen, has emerged within Ultimate, and no player has been able to consistently conquer them yet. From a list of data gathered by the Twitter user Hrongar, we can see at the 38 tournaments ranked A tier or higher this year, this Big 4 collective has been able to win a staggering number of them. In total, just this year alone, a Big 4 member has only failed to claim a victory at 7 of the 35 majors where at least one of them attended, and most of these came on early within the year. If we isolate the back half of 2023, we can see an even crazier statistic. Out of 18 majors, the Big 4 have won 17 of them, with their singular loss coming at the hands of Gluttony at Terra 2023. While there was only one of the Four Horsemen in attendance, in Spargo, he still picked up a win and sent him home at 3rd place. These numbers are more than just a sign of consistency from these players, it's a showing of a shift within the game's meta. Major top 8s have become very familiar with a few players. Top 4s have been dominated by the aforementioned Big Four at a majority of events, and it feels like people are just tired of it, to be honest. Their slower pace of play has produced some high-level matches, no doubt, but consistently they have longer sets. Comparing Watch the Throne to Summit 6 just 7 months prior, we can see a clear difference in game length among top 8s. On the screen you'll see a list of every player that's managed to top 8 either Watch the Throne or Summit 6 and their average game length throughout their sets in top 8. The average game length at Summit was 3 minutes and 32 seconds, whereas at Watch the Throne it was a staggering 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Taking out the individuals who only played one set, we'll see, wow, okay, this is just a line of best fit, cool. Every player that got in more than a single set in the top 8 of Watch the Throne had longer games than every player at Summit. At Summit, there were a total of 0 timeouts, and I know what you might be thinking. It's because Sonix wasn't at Summit. But in reality, the 2 timeouts that took place at Watch the Throne both included Acola. Acola was also featured in the longest set at Summit 6, clocking in at nearly 6 minutes against Kurama. At Watch the Throne, in total, there were 5 games that were longer than Summit's longest match. Even looking at the game not involving Sonic, a character that is generally played in a very slow-paced style, the average game length clocks in at 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Now, we could have a whole video breaking down the event and all the amazing sets that happened, and if you want to see that, let me know in the comments, but we'd like to highlight the dark horse of the event and the player with the most to prove, WebbJP. This solo Sheik main is one of the East Coast's strongest competitors, and for the past year, he's been making his mark upon Ultimate's highest level. He surprised the world with this performance, and though he didn't manage to win a set, he showed what he was capable of and more. Nearly reverse 3-0ing Acola and going up 2-0 against Gluttony are the things we barely see from even the best in the world, let alone a player that isn't even ranked currently. Okay, tangent over. Games are long, WebbJP is good, let's talk about what happened here. Pools in the gauntlet phase of bracket set up for an absolute bloodbath, but we once again saw our Four Horsemen move far above the rest, but only one would be able to take home the crown. Spargo and Acola faced off in round 1 of winners, where we saw Spargo win 3-1 against Acola's Aegis. Sonix 3-0'd Kurama's Mario and Roy to once again match up into Spargo in winners semis, while on the other side of bracket we had Tweek, who dominantly defeated Light, and Miya, who had just defeated Dabuz for the first time with his secondary Steve. For the first time since his loss at Genesis, we saw Spargo pick Cloud against Sonix. To the dismay of the Dominican Republic's strongest competitor, Spargo dismantled the Hedgehog. Every game was a last-stock effort, but in the end, Spargo was the one able to find the finishing blow in each encounter and guaranteed a top 3 spot for himself. On the other side, we had a run back of pools with Miya and Tweek, where Miya proved once again that he's leaps and bounds above the rest of the competition, picking apart the Diddy Kong game by game before eventually closing his masterclass of advantage state with a 3-stock, sending the United States' highest ranked player into the losers bracket and setting up for a matchup against Spargo in winners finals. On the losers side, the favorite for number 1, Acola, picked up wins against the pair of top European competitors Bloom Forever and Gluttony before playing against the aforementioned Tweek. The two hadn't matched up since their run-in at Summit 6, but Tweek would fall 3-0 to the Steve here. Sonix cleaned up Ken 3-0 to get his run back against Acola, and these two have only faced one time previously at Poor Priority, where Sonix absolutely demolished Acola with a triple 2-stock. This encounter was much different, and throughout the first game it seemed that Acola had this game in the bag. With a sizable lead to start and the timer winding down, it seemed like hope was all but gone for Sonix, but with just over a minute left, he made the impossible happen. Acola got hit with the Uno reverse card, and Sonix managed to find his way back into this game and finished Acola off with the timeout he had worked so hard to set up.
It's the strategy escaped him in the last. Okay, well. It escaped him in the last minute. That's tough. It escaped literally last minute.
Starting off down this time, Acola was once again in a timeout situation. Sonix this time, though, was unable to hold on to the lead, getting caught with a diamond back air while attempting to jump out of the corner, tying it up at 1 game apiece. Game 3 was a Sonix win, completing the game with a JV3, and now with Acola on the ropes, he was potentially bringing home his worst North American placement since his 7th at Genesis earlier this year. It was clear from the player cam that Acola knew this set was far out of his control at this point. Acola remained diligent with his fail-safe patient playstyle, relying on his walls and amazing frame data on the ground to keep Sonix out, but Sonix was already 2 steps ahead. He just couldn't seem to catch a break, with Sonix never letting up pressure or giving him a chance to mine any additional resources. The set wrapped up with another JV3, sending the number 1 rank home at 4th place. Winners Finals was the first matchup between Spargo and Miya since Kaguribi 10 back in June, and it was going to indicate a lot about this end-of-year ranking. While at this point Acola has most likely secured the number 1 spot, these two are the closest to the title and were in a tight battle for number 2. 2. Looking at who was remaining in bracket, it was likely that whoever went on to win this set was going to take home the whole tournament, and the two were playing like it. Unlike their previous matchup, Spargo decided to go with Cloud against the Game & Watch, and the pick seemed to be exactly what he needed. Game 1 was a 3-stock performance from Spargo, closing it out with incredible awareness, killing Miya at 0%. Like, come on man, why did you even go down there? Game 2 felt like the true start to the set, with the two steadily going back and forth trading interactions, but in the end, Spargo ended up missing a crucial air dodge to ledge, tying the set at 1-1. While Spargo started off looking amazing in Game 3, Miya's intuition found him a back air on a jump read to get an early kill. The game got down to a clean 1-stock apiece, and Miya held the reins of this match, but in an attempt to disengage, he was intercepted by a Cloud up air. Miya resorted to dipping well below the stage, but Spargo was ready and 2-frame down aired him, deleting the Game & Watch and putting the set at 2-1. Looking to carry forward this momentum, Spargo came out the gate swinging, as calculated as ever, and managed to clean up the first stock of the game. Miya's advantage state shined through and managed to get him back to an even point, once again meeting at 1 fresh stock apiece, and in just 20 seconds, Miya managed to rack up over 100% on Spargo. But once Spargo's Cloud gets you on the ledge, he does not let up. While Spargo had well over 150% on him at this point, he knew about the weight disparity between himself and Miya, and that just about anything can happen in this game when you're at max rage. Spargo managed to only trade from there on out, not letting Miya get any significant hits, and managed to track him down and finish the set off with a forward tilt. This loss slated a losers finals matchup of Miya against Sonix. Woo! But actually, Sonix managed to start out Game 1 with a huge lead, but Miya miraculously turned the game into his favor, and heavily. A huge string led Miya to the left side of Hollow, and with a quick in and out, Sonix baited a jump from Miya and closed out his stock with a bear. Games 2 and 3 saw each player put on the pressure, imposing their immaculate advantage states against one another, and they ended up splitting the games down the middle, leaving Sonix up 2-1 going into Game 4. Back on Hollow Bastion, this set was looking like it could go either way. Similar to Game 1, we saw Sonix slip away with an early lead, but on his last stock, Miya was able to put up an impressive campaign. He managed to get Sonix to a killable percentage, but in the process racked up almost 160% on himself, and with one of the lightest characters in the game, he knew he was one hit away from dying to just about anything. It ended up being a Nair tech chase setup from a Sonic Spring that resulted in Miya losing his final stock of the event, sending him home at 3rd place. The final matchup of Watch the Throne was one between North America's top 2 players, representing their respective countries at the highest level. Sonix and Spargo have a laundry list of history with each other, having played over 75 sets against each other both online and offline. Their winner semis match here was actually the first time they've played each other in bracket outside of the top 3 since Coinbox 55 back in March of this year, with every one of their following 30 sets, online or offline, being in winners finals or grands. Spargo decided to stick it out with the Cloud, and despite what people might say about the matchup, he did just beat the other 3 players in the top 4 with them all in a row, so why switch it up now? Sonix cleaned up the first stock of the game and made his extra credit count. And now down a sizable amount, Spargo needed to get bailed out by something. Enter Cloud down air. He attempted to hit Sonic's ledge hand with it, but was granted only the weak hit, and was forced to recover again against a limit Cloud. Sonix dropped low once again, but was met with a Buster Sword straight to the dome. In Game 2, we saw Sonix bring it to Town and City, and Spargo switched to Aegis. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. While this game did end up being relatively close, it was clear that Sonix was in control of the tempo for a majority of it, and in turn was able to even the setup at 1 game apiece. Despite a switch back to Cloud, Sonix was handedly destroying this soldier, sending him into the blast zone with a forward air. Spargo, though, relentless as ever, came back down, immediately swinging at Sonix. Not giving any comfort room, he followed Sonix off stage and closed out the stock with a limit side B. That momentum continued through the rest of the game, and a dash attack closed out a JV2 masterpiece, with Spargo now up 2-1. Sonix was determined, though, and this Game 4 was the epitome of how people think Sonix plays. He simply stood there, and Spargo also stood there, remaining in his spawn position and shooting blade beams. After a minute, the host EE called down and basically told them that they needed to start playing. So the two started to approach each other and began to play a little bit of neutral. Sonix seemed a bit shaken up. He was forced to stop playing the game he had already committed to before locking in his character, and it showed as Spargo ran all over the Hedgehog to start the game. A bit visibly pissed, Sonix struck back and got the game back to practically even. Like you may see in any game of Miya versus Acola, it's clear that these two have played hundreds upon hundreds of games against each other in and out of tournament. The momentum would shift in an instant, but their set records show one thing and one thing only. Spargo is a winner, and that remained true to close out this set. That 1 stock is all that Sonix managed to scrape together as Spargo seemed to effortlessly maneuver around the fastest character in the game. The set ended with a Cloud up smash on normal getup, followed by an emphatic pop-off from Spargo, closing out the year as the best player in the room full of the best players in the world. And while that may not be the #1 ranking, could you really ask for more? Spargo's run concluded with an impressive 8-1 record, dropping a single set to Light in the group phase. Along his path, he managed to secure wins over Tarek, Apollo Kage, MK Leo, Gluttony, Acola, Miya, and Sonix twice. This marks quite possibly his most impressive run ever and among the strongest of the entire year, silencing any of the few doubters that might still exist and showing that Spargo is, in fact, the real deal.
Captured his first Watch the Throne Championship, and there it is, the pop-off deserved, and the champion on stage. Face Spargo is your Watch the Throne 2023 champion.
Hey, thank you so much for watching, and drop a comment below if you like this type of content and want to see more of it. Thank you as always to our top tier patrons and YouTube members Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Eric is Cool, Juniper, and NNG Esports.